गर तू मुझे नवाजे तेरा कर्म है वरना तेरी रहमतों का बदला मेरी बंदगी नहीं। काशी टीवी देखने वाले सारे ही श्रोताओं ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਸਲਾਮ, ਨਮਸਤੇ। ਦੋਸਤੋ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹਾਂ ਹੈਲਥ ਟਾਕ ਸ਼ੋ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲ ਹੈਲਥ, ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ, ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲ ਹੈਲਥ, ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ। ਸੋ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਖਾਸ ਗੈਸਟ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਔਨ ਸਰਟਨ ਰਿਲੇਟਡ ਹੈਲਥ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ। ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਮਿਡਵਾਈਫ ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਨਰਸ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਲ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਐਂਡ ਸੈਂਟਰਲ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ 'ਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕੰਮ, ਐਂਡ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਸ਼ੀ ਹੈਜ਼ ਮੂਵਡ ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ੀ ਇਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਔਨ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਟੂਡੇ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਹੈਲਥ ਟਾਕ ਸ਼ੋ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਕਿ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਸਫਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਲਥ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੇਟਰ ਔਨ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਲੋਰਾ ਦਾ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਇਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੀਮਤੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਜੁੜੇ ਨੇ ਕਾਸ਼ੀ ਟੀਵੀ ਤੇ ਮਾਧਿਅਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਨ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼। Laura, thank you so much for coming to Kashi TV.
Thank you for having me.
Laura, you've been as a nurse and midwife. I'd like to know more about you. So tell me a little bit about you. What do you do? How do you come to as a nursing and midwife? What experience did you gain before we go to our topic?
I've been a nurse and a midwife for close to 20 years now.
Oh, that's a good experience, isn't it?
Started off as a nurse, working in the wards and the emergency departments here in Birmingham, and then moved to London. So I think I was probably in London for about 5-6 years, doing midwifery. So I think first agency midwifery and then in the hospital. So I think after that, after I qualified, and then came back to Birmingham where I'm originally from. I was working in the hospital, City and Sandwell, as you say, for probably about 16-17 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think since qualifying. So yeah, that's my background.
So which one did you enjoy? Did you enjoy nursing or the midwife? Because it's very hard, isn't it?
I enjoy midwifery much more, purely because it's like an interaction with women. So I think even though they say women can be bitchy and you know what I mean, things like that, but interaction with women and helping mums and babies and things like that. That's
where I met you, in a city hospital, isn't it?
That's right.
But you know, I always saw you. You are very caring and very gentle and helping patient. And once you know you go to certain different places, is it the same like our Sandwell and City Hospital? Is different?
Probably, more or less the same.
It's more or less the same. It's the personalities, in wherever you go, you take your personality. So today, Laura, we're going to talk about narcissist. So it's a totally different area, but you have been, like, you know, as you said, you've been working with the women and children. And we tend to see a lot of ladies or mans or, you know, children's have effect of narcissist attacks, you can say, or abuse, we can say. So this word narcissist, recently I think we use a lot this word, but before, if we go 5-10 years back, we wasn't using that word that much. We used to say is abuse or, you know, domestic abuse, but become form of narcissist abuse recently. In coming 5 years we talk a lot and we got a lot of knowledge about, and before that we were suffering and we didn't know what's a narcissist abuse is. So nurses and midwives and other health related professionals are providing information on narcissist abuse. So today we're going to find out firstly what is narcissist abuse is from Laura. So Laura's going to tell us what in your point of view is narcissist abuse, Laura.
Narcissist abuse is categorised as a personality disorder or like some form of mental health stroke personality disorder. We're not sure as yet whether men or women who are narcissists you know, pick up these traits from birth, or whether it's a gradual process thing, or whether it's from something they've experienced themselves, you know, like childhood trauma or something that they develop these certain traits. It's usually categorised by certain traits that they possess, basically, or that they display with their partners. So it could be that people sometimes only categorise narcissism to a romantic partner, whereas narcissists can be your brother, your mother, sister, anybody of that nature, any form of relationship you know, those particular people can be narcissists, basically.
So there can be a gang of narcissists together working this in as well.
Yeah, so it could be several sort of thing. So it's not just only kind of like what's the word? It's not only just your romantic partner sort of thing.
It can be anybody.
Yeah, it can be anybody.
ਸੋ ਲੋਰਾ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕੌਣ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਸਿਰਫ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਕਿ ਰੋਮਾਂਟਿਕ ਪਾਰਟਨਰ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਵਾਈਫ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਬॉयਫ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਗਰਲਫ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਹੋ ਇਹ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ਰ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਬਟ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੰਨਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਮ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਡੈਡ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਸਿਸਟਰ ਫਰੈਂਡਸ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਿਲੇਟਿਡ ਹੋ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡੀਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ ਐਂਡ ਇਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿ ਚਾਈਲਡਹੁੱਡ ਕੋਈ ਟਰੋਮਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੋਏ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੋਏ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੋਣ ਐਂਡ ਸਰਟਨ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਡਿਸਆਰਡਰ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ 2 ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀਆਂ ਜਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਬਾਹਰ ਸੋ ਕਈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਟਰੋਮਾਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਰਿਲੇਟਿਡ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਜੀਨਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੋਣ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਕਿ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਕੋਈ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ਰ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਕੁਦਰਤੀ ਉਹ ਜੀਨਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਪਾਸ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਸੋ ਕਈ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੇ ਪਰ ਪੂਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ ਕਹੀਏ ਕਿ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕੌਣ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਔਖਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੋ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਵਾਈ ਦੇ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਟੂ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਸਰਟਨ ਪੀਪਲ ਵਾਈ there is only certain type of people they choose to abuse.
They usually target people that are kind of a vulnerable state or people who are basically prosperous and sure of themselves because narcissists themselves are not sure of themselves. They have secretly got low self-worth, low self-esteem. So basically they feed off others. So they slowly say like you have like a prosperous person who's doing well in their job, who's got a good career maybe, who's sure of themselves, knows their self-worth, is doing generally well in life sort of thing. Those are the type of people that they usually target sort of thing to bring them down sort of thing so that they can feel more powerful themselves because secretly they don't feel powerful at all. They're actually quite weak sort of thing and have low self-esteem. So they usually target these people because these people that are not necessarily in powerful positions, but people that are just generally nice people, sort of thing, that are doing well in life, care for the people. They can see that kind of like that caring ability in those people. So that's why they kind of like target them to kind of bring them down sort of thing because they know that they can get what they want out of these types of people.
So it's more likely soft heart people
yeah for want of a better word. We don't want to be horrible and say like people are weak or they're, you know what I mean, they're a bit of a pushover, but it's kind of like these type of people sort of thing that they'll go for, the people that they know that are generally kind, caring, thriving, prosperous in life sort of thing, things like that. There's just a few examples. So those are the type of people they target.
ਸੋ ਲੋਰਨ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਟਾਰਗੇਟ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਿ ਵਨਰੇਬਲ ਲੋਰਾ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਦਿਆਲੂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਾਈਂਡ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੌਫਟ ਹਾਰਟਿਡ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਸਟੈਂਡ ਆਊਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕੁਦਰਤੀ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਛੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਐਡਵਾਂਟੇਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਨਸਿਕਿਉਰਿਟੀ ਫੀਲ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਦੂਜਾ ਪਰਸਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਚੰਗਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਦਿਆਲੂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਾਈਂਡ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਟਾਰਗੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਈਜ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਵੀ ਅਨਕਾਇੰਡ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਐਡਵਾਂਟੇਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਾਂਗੇ ਸੋ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਾਇੰਡ ਲੋਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵਨਰੇਬਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਲਦੀ ਟਾਰਗੇਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੋ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਟਾਰਗੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਨਰੇਬਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੋ ਟੈਲ ਮੀ ਨਾਓ ਵੀ ਗੋ ਔਨ ਟੂ ਦ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਵੇਅਰ ਇਜ਼ ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਆਵਰ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ affect with the narcissist effect. So tell me, what are the signs of somebody is getting affected by narcissist?
The woman themselves.
Yeah.
I think. Well, narcissists, like I said, they target certain individuals, and they kind of like play on your kind of vulnerability, sort of thing, your kindness and everything like that. So once they kind of like have identified that about your personality, sort of thing, the kind of person that you are, sort of thing, they basically slowly chip away at your personality, your mental state sort of thing, your emotional well-being sort of thing, without you actually realising sort of thing. So once I myself am a survivor of narcissistic abuse sort of thing from my ex-partner, and I didn't realise that it was going on until it had gone on for a long time. Saying I probably knew something that was wrong at the beginning, but once a narcissist identifies that you realise that something's going on, they do what's called love bombing, things like that, so to basically draw you back in, saying and pretend projection, all types of things to basically draw you back towards them and make you think that you're the one that's crazy for identifying their flaws or identifying that something's going on. So I feel like in my case, saying it was very like emotional and mental sort of thing, telling you that you're worthless, you're nothing, sort of thing, things like that, chipping away at your personality, because I was always like a bright and bubbly person, sort of thing, quite calm and caring, but they kind of like bring you out of your shell, sort of thing, a bit more, sort of thing. Once they've got you under their sort of like rapture, sort of thing, and the abuse is going on, sort of thing, they chip away your personality, so you become, more kind of like of an introvert. Then, so you become more like for yourself, and you kind of like become a lot more withdrawn. Saying you don't really want to socialise with people all the time, and you become so much so that you get depression, a lot of anxiety, maybe even panic attacks as well, sort of thing, all the classic signs. Saying and basically sometimes you just feel like you're actually going crazy, sort of thing, that you are the one that's that's got mental health or has something going on, sort of thing. There's something wrong with you, which is the reason why you're getting treated the way that you're getting treated. But that's what the narcissist wants you to believe as well.
My God, when you told me you've been through a narcissist abuse as well, it's very difficult to talk about as well. I think once you start recovering from narcissist abuse, it's ease off, isn't it? Once you know that, you've done this bit, but coming out from narcissist abuse is very, very difficult. I mean, like, how many years did it took you to find out? Because you was a nurse yourself, you was a midwife, and we tend to work in that atmosphere where we can easily, if it's a domestic violence, we can easily get if somebody is getting physically abused, mentally abused. But narcissist, somebody is living with you every day and abusing you, and you're not recognizing that. So what made you realize, what was the one point made you realize that, oh, something is not right here?
I think it was the outbursts and kind of like the realization that they will pick fights with you. They'll do things like pick fights with you for no good reason, and you'd be thinking like, okay, well, what just happened there? Do you know what I mean? It could be over something simple, like, I don't know, you left a glass in the sink or something like that, sort of thing. And then they'll try to project these feelings back onto you to say that, oh, you're always making a big deal about things, you're always complaining about things, you're always bringing things up, you're always trying to pick a fight. Small things like that, sort of things. So it's a slow build-up, sort of thing, that you start to think, oh gosh, you know what I mean? Am I going mad, sort of thing, or is it the other person, sort of thing, that's actually sort of thing doing these things to me, sort of thing, and making me think that I've gone mad. So it was just like a slow process. But actually, when I spoke to somebody for the first time, saying it was a stranger, it was a friend of a friend, sort of thing. She had identified these kind of like behaviours in her partner, sort of thing, and she said to me, "He's a narcissist," sort of thing. Which at the time I didn't know what that word meant. Realistically, I just knew that I was being, mildly abused. So when I went away and researched it, sort of thing, I read a few like real life stories about women who were experiencing that in their relationship, and the penny dropped. And I realised that, all of these characteristics that were in this lady's husband, sort of thing, were the same with my partner, sort of thing. And that's when I started to do more research and identify that, yes, I was living with a narcissist, sort of thing.
How did you feel, you living so long with a person who has a narcissist, personality, and you read and you find out, oh my God, how did you feel about that? Did you feel relief, or did you feel, what I'm going to do, what I need to be done as a, What was your thought about that?
I felt quite vulnerable and I felt quite scared at the time as well, sort of thing, because with a narcissist or with any type of abuse, sort of thing, that you don't know how the person's going to present themselves from day to day basis. You don't know what kind of mood they're going to wake up in. You know, when they come back from work, you don't know what kind of mood they're going to be in, sort of thing, or how they're going to treat you. You know what I mean? Their personality tends to sway from side to side, so things you never know what to expect from them. So my first thought was that I needed to get help, sort of thing, and everything, because I thought I need to try and plan ahead to try and get out of this situation and leave him, sort of thing, and also protect the kids, because it projects down onto the kids as well. So,
Definitely, yeah.
And at the time, my daughter, she was only young, sort of thing, but even she recognised certain things that were happening, sort of thing, within the household and that was happening to me, and witnessed certain behaviours. Because with narcissistic abuse, it can start off as just like, you know, chipping away at your mental sort of thing, and then emotional sort of thing. Then it can trickle down to financial. It covers all of those areas, and then eventually it can turn into physical as well, sort of thing. So, which mine actually did, saying from the very beginning, sort of thing. But I didn't realise that, you know what I mean, things were going to continue down that road. So I think, yeah, when I came to the realisation, it was basically planning the exit plan,
Wow.
but knowing where to go to get the information to plan that.
So Laura, was you able to get the help you needed from your community, from the people, from the professional? You know, you find out, yeah, this is a narcissist attack, I'm getting narcissist abuse, I'm getting. How easy or how difficult? I mean, you know, in our community, it's very difficult, because sometimes we see, we see a domestic violence going on in, you know, in Asian community, in any community, but sometimes we just close our eyes and we don't want to say,
exactly.
You know, we say it's their business, we don't want to talk, or we don't want to involve sometime. But when you go children's, you know, you have very young children, you had a daughter, teenager daughter, and it's affecting their mental health as well. So when did you, you know, how easy did you find, was it help, or do you think there is a lot need to be done to improve this, you know, to get the help for women?
I think in America, the term has been used and identified for a lot more years than it has done in the UK. So I'm not entirely sure if there's more support groups and more help over there, sort of thing. But over here, I think it's only just over the last couple of years, I think it's starting to become evident that people are suffering from this type of abuse. But the communities, like you said, the Asian community, the Black, Afro-Caribbean and African community don't identify it as such all of the time. So I do find there's probably like a big gap where women can't find support, sort of thing, for this type of abuse, and it severely affects their mental health, because what narcissists are very good at doing is basically showing one face behind closed doors and showing another face to the community, family, friends. Do you know what I mean? So the partner's kind of like slowly suffering in silence, sort of thing, because when they try to speak out about it to maybe like friends, relatives, they're like, oh no, we
that's impossible. He can't do that.
Side of that person. Do you know what I mean? That person wouldn't do that. So, but you know, that's the trickery behind it.
That's a very big sign that, you know, if the person is not nice to their family actually, and he's nicer to other communities. So I'm just going to mention this in Punjabi. So Laura ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਿਹੇਵੀਅਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵੱਲ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ, ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਵੱਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਬਟ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਹੈ, ਚਿਲਡਰਨਸ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਵਾਈਫ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਟੂਵਰਡਸ them is not very nice. So two personality ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਇੱਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਲਈ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ, ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਹੈ, ਬਹੁਤ ਲਵਿੰਗ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਿਐਲਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਲੋਜ਼ ਦ ਡੋਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਟੋਟਲੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਵਿਕਟਿਮ ਨੂੰ ਐਂਡ ਹੋਰ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਕਈ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪਰਸਨ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਮੰਨਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ। ਐਂਡ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਐਂਡ ਕੈਰੀਬੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਹਰੇਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ, ਵਾਈਟ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਹੈ, ਬਲੈਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਹੈ, ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਨ ਰੋਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਦੋ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਜਿੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। So, Laura, I want to know, how does it affected your children? I mean, it's a very, seeing mothers, seeing children's getting affect. How hard was that for you to find out sooner help?
It's difficult because my child's health at the time, I only had one child at the time before I had my son. And she was basically very withdrawn, because with the narcissist they have like a grand self disposition sort of thing about themselves sort of thing, and that's the kind of like the personality that they'll project to other people. Like for instance, they'll pretend that they're doing very well in their job, maybe for instance, or that they've got a decent amount of money sort of thing, they're prosperous, they're a good face in the community sort of thing, when realistically they haven't really got all these things, or maybe they're basically feeding off the things that their partners is aspiring to or has already got. So it was difficult sort of thing for my daughter at the time to basically be herself sort of thing, because they're always trying to dim your lights all the time sort of thing, and they're the important ones. Narcissists typically only care about themselves. They don't care about anybody else but themselves. So then deep down, it may not seem like that to the wider community or people who are friends with them, or family, things like that sort of thing, but they actually do only think about themselves mainly. Even if they have children sort of thing, it's about what they can get from that child, or if that child is basically doing well, they'll thrive off that sort of thing. But when they're finished boasting about that child or feeding off that child sort of thing, then basically the child's just kind of cast away sort of thing. They do say that there's no real genuine love sort of thing for that child as well, or for any children that the narcissist has. So they don't really care. They just like to pretend that they care, in front of the right people sort of thing, but behind closed doors they don't really have that genuine love and nurturing and support for that child, as you would have thought any parent would have sort of thing. So it was difficult for my child in particular to kind of like have that sense of self sort of thing, and have that sense of self-worth sort of thing, and feel loved sort of thing, and catered for sort of thing by her father, who's typically fathers are meant to protect their children sort of thing, daughters especially sort of thing, but she didn't have that throughout. So it kind of affected her quite greatly in that way sort of thing, because she didn't have that father figure to turn to, and she didn't feel that grand sense of love and protection sort of thing from him. So a child of the narcissist, usually always trying to please the narcissist sort of thing, trying to do right by the narcissist sort of thing, so that they will feel that love and affection from the narcissist. But as we know, that doesn't always happen sort of thing, because like I said, they always care about themselves more than anybody else.
ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਲੋਰਾ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਟੀ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਹੋਇਆ, ਬੱਚਿਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਹੋਇਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਲੋਰਾ ਆਪ ਇਸ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਤੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਮਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਫਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਬੁਰਾ ਅਸਰ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿ ਜੋ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਪਰਸਨੈਲਿਟੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਹੀ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਦੌਰ ਤੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਇੱਕ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਰੇਕ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਾਈਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਹਰੇਕ 'ਚ ਕੁਛ ਚੰਗਿਆਈ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਨੂੰ ਅਟਰੈਕਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਸ਼ਾਈਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਡਿਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਯਾਨੀ ਘਟਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। ਅਤੇ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ। ਉਹ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਜ਼ਾਹਿਰ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ, ਇੱਕ ਦਿਖਾਵੇ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ, ਪਰ ਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਵਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਅਤੇ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਦਿਖਾਉਣਗੇ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਪਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਰਿਐਲਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਡੋਂਟ ਲਵ ਦੇਅਰ ਚਿਲਡਰਨ, ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਜਿਹਦਾ ਕਿ ਬੈਡ ਅਸਰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੇਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦੇਖਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਾਦਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਿਕਿਉਰਿਟੀ ਹੈ, ਸੇਫ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ, ਬੇਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦਾ ਮਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਨਿਰਾਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਹ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਤੇ ਬੱਚੀ ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਟੀ ਤੇ ਹੋਇਆ। ਸੋ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਲੋਰਾ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਕਿ ਲੋਰਾ, when do you think there is a bombing, we talk about love bombing. So love bombing, could you give us tell us a little bit more about what's a love bombing is, when a narcissist give you love bombing? This word is quite popular, I will say.
Exactly, yeah.
So what is a love bombing?
To simplify, it basically just means that in the beginning of any relationship, sort of thing, you're both trying to impress each other, sort of thing. You're both trying to give off the good side of your personality, sort of thing, and show what you're like as a person. So in the beginning stages, the narcissist will basically do all the nice things, like buy you flowers, take you out to dinner, maybe, sort of thing. Promise you all the things that you would normally expect from a normal long-term relationship, saying, and basically make you feel like you're
very special,
like a special sort of thing, like everything's fine, and they're going to nurture you, they're going to look after you. So they'll buy you like these treats, almost as like favours to, you know what I mean, to draw you in. So you think, oh gosh, this person's like really, they're really genuine, they're really nice, they really care about me, sort of thing. But as you get deeper into the relationship, you'll see that all that changes, and what you're typically expecting from them in that way, sort of thing, you don't get at all, sort of thing. Narcissists have even got a way of basically not showing you any kind of love or affection as punishment, sort of thing, if they feel like you're not.
So that's a punishment.
Yeah, you're not basically, kind of like succumbing to their demands or behaving in a way that they want you to behave, sort of thing. Then they'll try and make you feel like, oh, you're neglecting them, and actually it's them that's neglecting you. So that can go on for weeks or months, sort of thing. They can withhold intimacy, sort of thing, love and affection, sort of thing. And in my experience, I would generally find that my person wasn't really that kind of like affectionate, loving and caring, sort of thing, as the deeper I got into the relationship. I mean, we were together for like 14 years, plus, but I think the deeper you get into the relationship, sort of thing, all those things stop. But they will start to love bomb you again, sort of thing, if they feel like you've clocked onto basically what's going on, and you start to withdraw back, sort of thing. Then they will come back in with the flowers and the gifts and everything like that to basically try to draw you back in, to make you maybe think that it was just like a one-off, that's not really happening. So then again, to grab your attention.
So it's just to make you stay in that.
Yeah, to make you stay in that environment, because they thrive off, you know what I mean, you being the way that you are, you being so giving and loving, sort of thing, and nurturing. They thrive off that sort of thing, even though they're treating you badly, sort of thing. So they don't want, whatever the case may be, they don't want to lose you, sort of thing. That's nearly always the case. So they'll do anything to make you stay.
So मैं लोरा को पूछ रही सी भी किस तरीके ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਲਵ ਬਮਿੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਤੇ ਲੋਰਾ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਵੀ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਹਰੇਕ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਗਿਫਟਸ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਮਝ ਸਕੋ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੇਸ 'ਚ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਲੋਟਸ ਆਫ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਗਿਫਟ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੀਆਂ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਐਜ਼ 14 ਇਅਰਸ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ 'ਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੋਏ, ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਸੀ ਘਟਦੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ। ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਏਰੀਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਵੀ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਣੀ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਗਿਫਟ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉਪਹਾਰ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਲਵ ਬਮਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਕਿੱਸਾ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੇਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਕਸਦ ਇਹ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਛੱਡਣਾ ਨਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਏ ਕਿਧਰੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਲਵ ਬਮਿੰਗ ਸੀਗਾ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇਹ 14 ਇਅਰਸ ਤੱਕ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਪਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜ਼ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਲੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਸੀਗਾ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦਾ ਵੱਧਦਾ ਗਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਗਿਫਟਸ ਵੀ ਘੱਟਦੇ ਗਏ, ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਵ ਬਮਿੰਗ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਸੀ ਐਜ਼ ਏ ਪਨਿਸ਼ਮੈਂਟ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਇਲੈਂਟ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੋ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ, ਮਹੀਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ, ਉਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਟਰੀਟਮੈਂਟ ਚਾਲੂ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਸੋ ਲੋਰਾ, ਕੈਨ ਯੂ ਟੈਲ ਮੀ ਲਿਟਲ ਬਿਟ ਮੋਰ ਅਬਾਊਟ how did it affect your mental health? I mean, you probably be going through so many things, and once you realize you having a narcissist abuse, you are trying to get out of it. What was so difficult? Like, what you've been through was it's a trauma, a very big trauma you went through. and still it's going to take many years to heal as well. It's like you know, what are the main things you've been through that you feel that you need to mention to our viewers, that you know, when you're going through narcissist abuse that affected your mental health?
Well, it's a known fact. The research has been done that narcissistic abuse, I'll probably say for myself, probably any forms of abuse, but there has been research done on narcissistic abuse and its effect on the brain. And they have said that it affects the frontal lobes of the brain, that it's got long-term effects, irreversible effects on the brain, to the point where, you know, you can be feeling like, you know, low self-esteem, low self-worth, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, where you basically you're kind of like reliving and having flashbacks of, you know, events that have happened throughout the relationships. A lot of a lot of depression sometimes as well, sort of thing, or low mood sort of thing, and everything like that. Your mood can swing sort of thing. In my case, I did suffer from panic attacks as well, sort of thing. That can be a common sign as well, because, like I said, you don't know what to expect from the narcissist. You don't know what's going on, sort of thing. So you don't know what to expect from one day to the next. So certain situations that you may encounter with the narcissist, you may be, you know, afraid of what might happen, sort of thing. So that brings you into a panic, sort of thing. And if you basically have any kind of similar situations, that brings on that panic again. So I think even well after they've gone, so I think people think that once the narcissist has basically left the relationship, or you've left the relationship, or you've both gone your separate ways, or you're not really in contact with the narcissist, that those kind of like symptoms and those mental health problems will basically reduce and go away. But actually they can stay there, like you said, for a long time. So I think it takes you a while to basically condition your brain and, you know, your body to not go for that flight or flight response. And yeah,
so many, it's like from you know, physical, emotional, and your environmental, everywhere, spiritually, you just break down with all those things.
Yeah, definitely.
सो लोरा कोलों मैं पूछ रही सी भी किस तरीके दे नाल जिहड़ा हैगा नार्सिसिस्ट अब्यूज़ जिहड़ा है तुहाडी मैंटल हैल्थ ते इफेक्ट करदा, ते इन्हां ने काफ़ी सारे उदाहरण दिते कि जो है नार्सिसिस्ट अफेक्ट दे तौर तो जा रहे सीगे, ते इन्हां ने दस्सिया भी एंजाइटी एंड डिप्रैशन जिहड़ा सी इन्हां नूं हो गया सी। एंजाइटी दे कि पता नहीं की हो जाना, फिर हमेशा रहिंदा सीगा कि नैक्सट मोमेंट पता नहीं इस इंसान ने की करना हैगा। स्ट्रैस जिहड़ी सीगी ਉਹ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਐਂਡ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰਦੇ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬ੍ਰੇਨ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੱਦ ਤੱਕ ਵਿਗੜ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਲੋਟ ਆਫ ਐਨਜ਼ਾਈਟੀ, ਪੈਨਿਕ ਅਟੈਕ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ, ਮੂਡ ਸਵਿੰਗਸ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਵੀ, ਐਂਡ ਸ਼ੋਰਟ ਟਰਮ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਮਰੀ ਲੋਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਟੈਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ, ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਿਮਿਲਰ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਏ, ਉਹਦਾ ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੀ ਕੋਈ ਇਨਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਲਾਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਫੇਰ ਨਾ ਹੋਏ। ਸੋ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇੱਕ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਸੀਗੀ ਫੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਡਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਸੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਇਹ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਲੋਰਾ, ਹਾਊ ਯੂ ਨੋ ਵੈਨ ਯੂ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ narcissist abuse, how did you find easy to make a relationship, or did you find really hard? You know, sometimes you always think, oh God, I've been to a narcissist abuse, I'm going to find everybody who's that kind of personality, and you got that fear in you always. How did you find what you will say, is it easy to make a relationship after you have a narcissist abuse, or how what to look for when you make a next relationship?
I think it helps to go to, in my case, it helped me to go to, I found it helpful to go to classes and do some short courses, seek help from, you know, Women's Aid or other charities such as that, sort of thing, that help, you know, people trying to like flee from these type of situations, because, or even just watching something on YouTube or something like that, sort of thing. Any information that you can find about this type of abuse, helps you to basically, you know, strategize and figure out like an exit plan sort of thing, so that you can, you know, get out smoothly sort of thing. Because when you're trying to leave that type of relationship, that's the most dangerous stage sort of thing, is when you're trying to leave sort of thing. That's when the abuse will inevitably increase. So, and when there's kids involved, even when you're pregnant sort of thing, going through pregnancy, for the narcissist, so then that's when the abuse is kind of like heightened then as well. So it can be like a very long process sort of thing to actually, you know, get out of it. So then people often say like, oh, why don't you just basically exit the relationship sooner rather than later? It's because, like I said at the beginning, sort of thing is a slow process. It's like a drip, drip, drip effect. So basically you don't realise what you're in until you're really deep in it. So then inevitably it can take you a long time to get out sort of the situation. And I think it's basically about knowing what the kind of like the signs and the symptoms, for want of a better word, are sort of thing when you're entering into another relationship, to know kind of like what to look for sort of thing. If the person is basically love bombing you with flowers and, you know, generous gifts and maybe like flights away sort of thing to different countries or something like that at the beginning sort of thing, but then you find that they're basically behind closed doors, they're basically eating away at your personality, criticising you, maybe like saying nasty things to you sort of thing, putting you down sort of thing, and controlling behaviours as well sort of thing.
Controlling.
Yeah, can also be a direct sign as well sort of thing. Not wanting you to be better than them sort of thing, or not wanting you to prosper, not supporting you sort of thing in your goals, or, you know, clapping for you when you achieve something sort of thing. Yeah, always wanting to keep tabs on you all the time sort of thing, knowing your whereabouts, where you've been sort of thing. And then after a while the accusations start to come in sort of thing, to say, you know, are you maybe having an affair, are you doing something sort of thing and everything. It could be something as simple as going to the shop sort of thing. You spent an hour longer than what you'd normally spend or something. You know what I mean? The narcissist will, you know what I mean, try to actually turn that around into something that it's not. So I would say probably like control. Criticizing,
not trusting you.
Not trusting, saying, maybe not being honest about things when you ask them things. Saying, being like, you know, dishonest when you know that you found evidence, or you know that, you know, information to suggest that they're not telling you the truth, or things like that. I think probably like the love bombing probably involves a lot of you know, compliments and things like that as well, sort of thing, that slowly start to like demise as time goes on. So I think, you know what I mean, they're not kind of like proud to have you on their arms sort of thing and everything like that, or that at least they're not showing that unless you start to like to pull away sort of thing. That's when they'll come back in sort of thing with all the you know, the nice gestures and the compliments and things like that. So
it's fear of not letting you go, isn't it? They are fear of you maybe going.
Yeah.
So they start doing all these
things.
Then they are love bombing again.
Yeah. To draw you
controlling then after.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, in my case, I found that it helped me to. I went for a lot of counselling, so and I sought help from Women's Aid. They've probably got similar sorts of help support groups that are charity based in other countries as well. So but they're all probably just called different names. But in my case, I did go to Women's Aid. That was my first point of call, to ask them, you know, this is what's happening. So because things were getting quite physical, so the physical abuse was kind of like heightened at that point. So I was like, how do I kind of like, this is what's happening, how do I get out of this situation sort of thing. And I find those support groups are really good because they might give you like, if they don't verbalise it, they may give you like a sheet of paper or a little card, something that you can carry, or a booklet even if you do certain types of courses. Like I did what's called the Freedom Programme sort of thing, which helps you to identify the different types of, you know, personality sort of thing, not only just within the narcissist, but within the abuser, as it's, you know, maybe the different types of abuse and how you can identify certain thing, which type of abuse that you're going through, or you might be going through all of those different types of abuse, like financial, emotional, mental, all of those. So I think support groups is definitely a good place to start. So I think maybe even watching like YouTube videos and things like that. Sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got lots of TikTok videos as well, small short videos.
Exactly.
It's the main thing is, I think, is getting a recognizing getting abuse, isn't it? That's a big thing. Because in our community sometimes we see our, you know, grandparents and mums treating that way. We think it's a normal. We never realize until you know somebody say, "Oh, that doesn't seems to be right." And then you start working, why it's happening? I haven't seen my friends not being treated like that. Why I'm getting treated from this man or, you know, this person like that, and why my children? When you start comparing, and it's like eye-opening and more awareness.
Really,
like that's why we are designed this program, so people know that there is a narcissist abuse.
I mean, you've got like the red flags. Well, people like to talk about the red flags quite a lot now, don't they?
I love, you know, if you can tell us the red flags.
Over the last couple of years, the thing. It's like I mentioned before about the, if they seem more about themselves than they are about you, the control, if they seem like they've got controlling behaviours, if they seem dishonest, if the stories that they give you don't match up. And another classic one as well is the way they talk about their previous partners, I think. If they've had one, because narcissists go off what they call like a new supply sort of thing. So that's what they call it.
So when you know what they're doing, so they go to the next supply.
Yeah, so when they get found out, they always have to find what we call a new supply, so which is a new person to start that process with all over again. So they win that person over. So I think it's helpful sometimes when you enter into relationships to know what they've got to say, if anything, about the previous partner. A narcissist will usually say, "Oh, she was crazy, my ex," so think, "Oh, you know, she was abusive towards me," so think, "Oh, you know, she had lots of affairs, she cheated on me." When these are all the actual things that the narcissist will do to you. so
it's just reflecting. It's a mirror he's actually showing you. That's him.
So I think it helps to go to support groups, because I think what support groups will provide you with is the green and the red flags, or a little, like, you know, breakdown of what is a healthy relationship and what is an unhealthy relationship. I think that's the main thing that people need to kind of like focus on. So then when they've left an abusive relationship, is what is healthy and what is unhealthy. So and I think any of those signs that are unhealthy, they need to basically, you know, probably end it before it's even got started.
Yes, I think it's better to be, you know, if you took a bus, just to stop the next stop, I will say, rather than making a long journey. So I was talking, मैं लॉरा दे नाल गल कर रही सी कि किस तरीके दे नाल जेड़ा नार्सिसिस्ट अब्यूज़ है ਉਹਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਹੀਲਿੰग ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਰੈਕਗਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਸਪੋਰਟ ਗਰੁੱਪਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫ੍ਰੀडम ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਕਾਉਂਸਲਿੰਗ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਸੀ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਫੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ। ਐਂਡ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਲਥੀ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਹੈ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਹੈਲਥੀ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਲਥੀ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੀਲਿੰਗ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੈ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਅਤੇ ਕੁਛ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰੈੱਡ ਫਲੈਗਸ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਟਰਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਤੇ, ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਪਾਰਟਨਰਸ ਜਾਂ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਅਫੇਅਰ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਾਈਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ, ਪਰ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਰੈੱਡ ਫਲੈਗ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਠੀਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਬਿਹੇਵੀਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਤੇ ਅੱਖ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਦੀਜ਼ ਆਰ ਸਮ ਆਫ ਦ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੈੱਡ ਫਲੈਗ ਨੇ, ਲੋਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਇਹ ਅਗਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਣ ਤੇ ਉਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਉਸ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਗੌਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ। So anything else you want to mention, Laura? We got 5 minutes before we finishing up. You think there is anything you like? But as you mentioned, you know, when you was going through, you had your children, and how did you cope? I mean, you was alone, there wasn't much support that time. You had later on like counseling and all that. So how did you you know, react with your children? You had, you know, your job to go. How did you manage? If you you know, what was your self help, like, you know, what did you do as a self care? What advice you will give it to our viewers, like, you know, the women who are already in that narcissist abuse, but what self-care advice you will give them so they can start now to make it little bit better for them?
I would say journaling is a good one. So I think is to get a book or a journal or some type of planner to write down how you're feeling. So I think on a day-to-day basis. Maybe even a gratitude journal sort of thing to say what you're grateful for each day sort of thing. So you can draw some kind of positives out of the situation that you're going through, because not everybody finds it easy to speak about it sort of thing. Not everybody finds it easy to seek help, and not everybody finds it easy to leave sort of thing. So I'd say like try and think about yourself. In the midst of it all, try and think about yourself as much as possible. Maybe if you're religious, you know, go to that religious place, whether it's the temple, the church, you know, the wherever sort of thing, the mosque, you know, to pray sort of thing. And spirituality really helped me. So I think when I started to get deeper into spiritual healing, so I think meditation, so just simple things that you can do in between times, like taking a hot bath, lighting some candles, burning some incense, and just praying sort of thing. I think I used to pray an awful lot. You know, for God
spirituality does help. I think it's I mean, everybody has a different view, but I think it does help. If you don't believe in any God, but still you can do meditation, yoga and other stuff, which is like right, you know, which help. So Laura ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ self care ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ already ਇੱਕ narcissist abuse ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਐਂਡ ਹਜੇ ਨਿਕਲਣ ਦਾ ਰਸਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਿਕਲਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਸ ਰਿਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਤੋਂ। ਤੇ ਲੋਰਾ ਨੇ ਕੁਝ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਦੱਸੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਟਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਤਾਬਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ। ਕੁਝ ਪਲਾਨਸ ਬਣਾਓ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਸਟੈਪ ਬਾਏ ਸਟੈਪ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਹਤਰ, ਐਂਡ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਰਾਈਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਫੀਲ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਐਂਡ ਪ੍ਰਾਰਥਨਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਪ੍ਰੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਡੀਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਵੀ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੰਦਿਰ, ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ, ਚਰਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੋਗੇ, ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੋਗੇ, ਉਹ ਹੈਲਪਫੁਲ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਡੀਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਲੋਰਾ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਾਫੀ ਮੈਡੀਟੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਪ੍ਰੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੈਲਪ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਤੇ ਮਿਲੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਕੁਛ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬੈਟਰ ਫੀਲ ਕਰੋਗੇ। ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਸੈਲਫ ਕੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੈਗੂਲਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਬਾਥ ਆਪਣੇ ਲਈ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਕੱਢ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੈਂਡਲਸ ਲਗਾ ਕੇ ਬਾਥ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਆਪਣੇ ਲਈ ਕੁਝ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਰਨਲੀ ਫਿਜ਼ੀਕਲ, ਮੈਂਟਲ, ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਬੈਟਰ ਕਰ ਸਕੋ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖ ਸਕੋ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਕੁਛ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਸੈਲਫ ਕੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਪਣਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਬੈਟਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਹੈਗਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਅਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਪਹਿਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਿਨ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਬਟ ਹੁਣ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਐਜ਼ ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕਾਫੀ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ, ਯੂਟਿਊਬ 'ਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰੈਗੂਲਰ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ 'ਚ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਨਾਰਸਿਸਿਸਟ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਐਂਡ ਸਿੰਪਟਮਸ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਗਾਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੈਲਪ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸਾਰੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਈਜ਼ੀਲੀ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਯੂਟਿਊਬ ਤੋਂ, ਗੂਗਲਸ ਤੋਂ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਰਚ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੈਲਥ ਟੋਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਬਟ ਬਿਫੋਰ ਦੈਟ ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੀ ਕਿ ਲੋਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਕਰਨ। ਸੋ ਲੋਰਾ, ਇਜ਼ ਦੇयर ਇਜ਼ ਐਨੀ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਯੂ ਲਾਈਕ ਟੂ ਗਿਵ ਇਟ ਟੂ ਆਵਰ ਵਿਊਅਰਸ?
Yeah, I would say the last and final message would be to spend a lot of time with your children in the midst of it all, sort of thing, because I think children are, you know, for me, my child was a great saviour for me, sort of thing, because if it wasn't for taking her out to the park, riding her bike, for picnics, if the narcissist is in control of your finances, anything like that, but just spending quality time with your children, sort of thing, because your children give you life and they make you happy, sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's very therapeutic.
ਸੋ ਲੋਰਾ ਦਾ ਲਾਸਟ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਾਈਮ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰੋ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਇਸ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਗੁਜ਼ਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਇਹ ਇੰਨਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ਲੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਬਿਊਜ਼ਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੈਸਿਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ। ਸੋ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰੋ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਾਰਕ ਵਗੈਰਾ 'ਚ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਬਾਈਕ ਰਾਈਡ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਐਕਸਪੈਂਸਿਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਜਿੰਨਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰੋ, ਗੁੱਡ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਟਾਈਮ ਵਿਦ ਗੁੱਡ ਪੀਪਲ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਦੋਸਤੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਹੈਲਥ ਟੋਕ ਸ਼ੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਮਾਪਤ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਵੀਕ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਗੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਤਦ ਤੱਕ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ।